Your schedule anytime you would like. Download the Get Up Daily podcast. It's available on the ESPN app and on Apple Podcast. As we segue back to basketball with the simple question, who is the best player in the NBA?
The Lakers have officially been eliminated from the playoffs.
With LeBron James missing the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, we in the media seem to be passing the mantle of best player in the NBA from one player to another almost every other day. It started with Damian Lillard dropping a playoff career high 50 and knocking out OKC with a 37-foot dagger.
Lillard, long-range three.
That lasted 3 days until Kevin Durant scored 50 to close out the Clippers after dropping 45 in the previous game.
Durant, count it, and the foul.
It was less than a week later that Joel Embiid seemed to be on top of the league, punctuating his 33 points in a Game 3 rout of the Raptors.
Embiid fakes, Embiid down the lane. It will be a crime if he leaves this game not being compared to the best big man that's ever played this game.
Within 4 days, it was Giannis staking his claim. He scored 71 points in Games 3 and 4 on the road against the Celtics to seize total control of that series.
The body of a Greek god and the execution of an MVP.
At the very same time, James Harden was scoring 79 against Golden State in Games 3 and 4 as the Rockets evened up that series at home.
Harden, step back three. Bang!
Not to be outdone, Steph Curry took his turn in Game 6 in Houston, shrugging off a scoreless first half and ending up with 33 points, 23 in a spectacular fourth quarter.
Curry launches a three, puts it in again!
That sent the Warriors to the conference finals without Kevin Durant. And then, 9 days later, with Toronto trailing Love 2 to the Bucks, Kawhi Leonard posted 36, highlighted by this emphatic overtime dunk.
Run it all the way
And of course, that came after he had already done this.
Is this the dagger?
That was a fun one to put together, and I think it really is interesting. You have to sometimes be honest with yourself. Like, we have anointed a different player, best player in the world, so many times since these playoffs began. We actually had to sit down and think about how many different times we had done it. What is your takeaway from that?
Here's the distinction that
You all right?
allows. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Here's the distinction I want people to use when they're talking about best player in the game. There's a reason why they give out player of the week, player of the month, and regular season MVP. There are different people in those categories. James Harden was heavily a part of that conversation. Once the postseason happens, there's a reason why they give finals MVP, the best performers in the playoffs. So as I see outliers like LeBron James, who didn't make the playoffs, and Kevin Durant, who was amazing even until he got injured, now who's the kings of the court? Steph Curry, as he swept his way to the NBA finals. And the answer to your question, Kawhi Leonard, because he's been so very dominant on both ends of the floor.
Who's the best player in the world?
27, 8 in his 16th season, missed 17 games, and because of it, his team didn't make the playoffs.
You're talking about LeBron James.
Come on, man, it's self-explanatory. And you know what? And another reason why I say that, every single day, he's on TV and he's not even playing.
That's right.
No.
He's not even playing, Jalen. We talk about him every day, and he's not even playing.
This is not a lifetime achievement award, DJ. This is the NBA. And I'm not saying if LeBron would not have gotten injured that the Lakers would have still missed the playoffs. I believe that they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I also think they probably would have been the 8th seed.
But the point, I think, remains that we never had this conversation all the years LeBron was in the playoffs, because every single night he demonstrated he was the best player in the world. And I think it is the vacuum he leaves behind that leaves us sort of debating this constantly, because when he's playing, there isn't any question who's the
Not
best player.
true.
Why not?
The last two NBA finals, I see Kevin Durant shoot LeBron James down in the NBA Finals and win MVP. He was the king of the court.
But he was on a much better team. If you would switch the two of them, LeBron and Kevin Durant, the same exact result would have taken place.
Possibly.
I think it would.
Possibly.
Here's my argument. Can I make my argument to you right now? My argument is the reason this conversation is taking place is because the actual best player in the world right now is busy doing this.
Mama, I found this. Can I have 'Cause it's Taco Tuesday. What is it, Z? Taco Tuesday. Bryce, what is it? Taco Tuesday. What is it? Brian, what is it? Taco Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday.
That's what I'm saying.
I would
That's what
love
I'm
to be
saying.
as enthusiastic about literally anything in my life as LeBron and his family are about Taco Tuesday. But that's my point. He's busy doing that. If he were playing basketball right now, he'd be the best player.
Y'all making my point. Okay, that's the original first family of the NBA.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the current royalty of the NBA is the Currys. And they're playing in the NBA Finals. I just saw him play against his brother in the playoffs.
Yep, he did that.
His brother's marrying Doc Rivers' daughter. Mm-hmm. He plays with his stepbrother.
Yeah.
And I saw his mother and the father in the stands, and I played against his dad.
Yeah.
That's the first family, and he's in the conversation
So
of best
you're
player.
telling me right now is the best player in the world Steph Curry?
Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry, KD.
Where's LeBron James in that?
He ain't a part of this list right
to
now.
me, LeBron. DJ just walked off. I may walk off with him.
DJ, if you got the best player in the game, should you make the playoffs?
Yeah, if you don't miss 17 games, you miss 17 games.
You ready for this? How many games did Kawhi miss this year?
22.
Talk to me.
Okay, because of load management.
Talk to me. Everybody keep talking to me about how many games LeBron lost. I sat here all season and said that they were going to be a 7th or 8th seed if they made the playoffs.
But you can't say that. The team that Kawhi Leonard has in the Toronto Raptors have been to the playoffs multiple years without Kawhi Leonard. The guys that LeBron James hadn't been to the playoffs at all.
All I know is Kawhi Leonard missed more games than LeBron James.
Yeah, because of load management. He took the game off.
He still missed
all
more
I'm
games?
saying is this. LeBron James.
How about that, Greeny? What do you have to say to that one? I've been saving that one.
He took more games up.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Steph Curry. James Harden.
Thank you for writing those down over there. We're only I can see them. Anyway, this is delightful. We've now had more walk-offs on our set this morning than they had in the major leagues last night. Well, we'll get to some football here. We have Adam Silver coming in. Maybe he'll settle this dispute for us in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, let me get to Patrick Mahomes. He led an offense that was ranked first in both points and yards last year. But there was a school of thought I'm hearing out there right now that regression seems inevitable. And you see some of the numbers up there. 13.3 yards per completion last year. It's ridiculous. He averaged 8.8 yards per attempt. The last 15 quarterbacks to reach that mark saw an average dip of over a yard per attempt the following year. And then 8.6% of his pass attempts resulted in a touchdown last year, most in the NFL. Among the 33 qualified quarterbacks, only Russell Wilson was above 7%. So Mahomes had one of those like charmed years. You know, like sometimes everything comes together sort of a perfect storm and you just can't play any better than you play. So do you as a quarterback expect Mahomes to take a step back next year?
I don't. Not at all. That's the convenient thing for people to say because the numbers in the season were so astronomical. But where is the sign that it's going to happen? He's got a year of starting under his belt, so he's much more smarter as a quarterback. He's seen defenses more. Their offensive line is back. Travis Kelce's back. He's got the same skill set and for the most part back. He's got a Tyreek Hill, if he plays or whatnot. I mean, he's going to play. Kelce's still there. They're still going to be able to throw the ball downfield. Sammy Watkins has got another year to get healthy, and rumors is he's been dominant this spring. And let me throw this out. They drafted a kid in the second round named Mecole Hardman out of Georgia. Mecole Hardman is a guy who's going to have absolute speed down the field for this offense. You're going to fit him in with a bunch of other weapons. He's going to be a guy that's going to have a lot of Tyreek Hill type capability. So I don't see this drop off or regression that people are talking about. I would be more surprised if he didn't have a better year.
One name that you left off that list that is most important is Andy Reid. They have Andy Reid back, which also really helps. However, it's crazy to assume that everything's going to go as well as it went last year. They could have injuries, they could have issues, and you said Tyreek Hill is going to play. We're not sure about that. There's been no conclusive determination on whether he's going to play or not. So I think it's unrealistic. I don't think he's going to get worse, like be a bad quarterback, but it's kind of absurd to think that he's going to have the season that he had last year. That's like MVP level season, historic type stuff.
Here's the point. Patrick Mahomes can take a small step back and still be the best quarterback in the National Football League. So are you saying that's your expectation?
Yeah,
regardless of whether he takes a step back statistically, you still think he's the best guy in the sport?
He's up there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still pretty good, but yeah, he's the top quarterback. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think he's going to be bad. He's not going to have even though it's not his sophomore year, he's not going to have a sophomore starting year slump, but he's not going to be as good as he was last year. That's just
why?
Because it doesn't happen. We just talk about how their core guys had to stay healthy all season.
Guys don't get better going from their first year to their second year starting.
They tend not to have these type of years back to back.
They tend not to have MVP
that team is not going to be
first year starting though.
That team is not going to be healthy all the way through, and there are going to be issues. And there are other teams that are prepared for them in a different way. You have to understand that.
But they're more prepared as well. Like they're okay. What were we good at? What were we not good at? Andy Reid now has a full off season where he's going to go.
Cut to the chase.
Patrick Mahomes does this good. Doesn't do that good. I would be more surprised if he didn't have a better year than if he had a
put something on it. Then cut to the chase. You don't actually believe that. You just want to say that he's good. I agree. You don't actually believe that he's going to have more than 50 touchdowns. Say it. Say it. I'm going to induce a walk-off. See if I can induce a walk-off.
51.
Bet something on it. Wait till commercial. I'm going to bet something on it.
What do you say? He's going to have less than 45?
No. He's going to have less than 50.
Tom.
He's going to have less than 50. That's the argument.
Really going
Put
on
something on it,
bud.
You're the one that's on the limb. I'm just calling you out.
You're saying Patrick Mahomes is going to have 49 touchdowns.
Now he's back. Now you're going to back him down?
You're going to categorize it as a regression.
Greeny, you hear him backing down? What do you?
Something is in the water here this morning. I got people yelling at each other over me. I don't know what's happening. Let me throw this just quickly into the conversation. One of the reasons his numbers were what they were is because their defense was so unbelievably bad last year. They needed him to accumulate all of those yards and all those touchdowns. Will their defense be better? Because that could influence his numbers one way or the other.
Their defense is absolutely better. I was the one who said right after kind of free agency that this team had taken a step back because of some of the defensive pieces. They've got Frank Clark now, Okafor. They signed Tyrann Mathieu. Thornhill, their draft pick, is going to be a big deal. These two safeties, if Tyrann Mathieu is one of the best ball-hawking, turnover-forcing defensive players that we have. Frank Clark, a great pass rusher. You're going to get more turnovers. Juan Thornhill, their draft pick out of Virginia, is going to get more turnovers. That's going to give him more possessions. He's going to have more opportunities to do sidearms.
That's enough.
Let's go, Dom.
Let me ask you the question, and Nick, it's a perfect ending to it here because Hembo has the stat up there. Our analytics believe they are the favorite this year to win the Super Bowl. Are they going to be your pick, at least in the AFC? Will you pick them to win the AFC?
Sure, why not? I like him. Put him up there to win the AFC, but he's not going to throw more than 50 touchdowns because the defense is going to be better.
There's nothing better than when we fight all morning long, and that's what we're doing. We will see, because turning to the top of the hour here on Get Up, we've got a very special guest on the way. For an elongated conversation, Adam Silver, Commissioner of the NBA, will be here live for 20 minutes, talk about the finals and a whole lot more. Stay with us.